here is the B25. So while I've been sort of away from making videos, I've sorted the seat out so it's got a much flatter profile, it doesn't sort of kick up on the front. I've done a bit of wiring just on this side. I need to sort out the cover for that seat. The battery box is there. I need to make some batteries, sorry, some brackets for that, and sort out the wiring of the electronic ignition, put that in the right place. So which should I do first, brackets or wiring? I think we'll go for wiring. So the B25 is 12 volt positive earth. This little Sparks kit comes along with some nice and neat diagrams and instructions. I have already put the stator plate in and the ignition coils in there, but I need to wire that up. So I shall start sticking stuff together. So from the igniter box, the first thing we need to do is take the black lead to the ignition coil, which is under here, just following the instructions in the Sparks manual. While I'm doing the wiring, I'll just stick the old television on, and if you're wondering how to get the internet and television into your shed, there is a YouTube video I put on my channel. Just search it out and have a look. It's fairly simple. Okay, quick recap on the loom. Don't forget the BSA B25 is positive earth 12 volts. So wire the coil up. It's going to confuse me later on in life when I look at red there, but red is positive earth and black there. Hey ho, deal with that if it happens. So we have positive earth going back, positive earth to the actual engine as well. We have from the igniter box, I suppose we call it, brain bit of the electronic ignition. We've got that going into the replacement pointy thing, and we have onto the other side, we have it going, or we will have going into the stator. That's coming from that what do you call it, reg rec, which is a single phase reg rec, and that's about where we got up to. The white wire going out here is for the kill switch. I've ordered a kill switch for the handlebars, and the black wire coming out to there is going to the switch, and then we have another black wire going back to the reg rec. So that's where we're up to at the moment. More wiring to do, see where we get up to. So I now need a feed for the lights. So this is the wire coming back from the switch towards the gubbins. Powers the, puts electricity to the engine and everything else. So what I've done is I've stripped back some wire, and they're going to wrap another black wire around this, solder it, and feed that back up to the headstock for lights and other stuff. So as you can see, this is going to be the wire that goes back to the lights. You can probably see I've taken off quite a lot of sleeving on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little gap in here, feed it through, and then wrap round and round and round and round and round to make a nice secure connection, and then I shall solder it as well. So all I've done is used a pick just to make that little sort of hole there, and then feed the other cable through it. So there's the cable through it, and I just wrap it round and round. So there it is, wrapped round. Now all I need to do now is get the solder iron out and solder it up, and that'll make a nice secure connection. Right, quick soldering lesson. Obviously, first of all, make sure your iron is nice and hot by just sticking a bit of solder on it, flick it off, sort of like so. And then what you want to do is you want to heat the wire and then feed the solder into the wire, because the solder will actually soak into the wire. Now this may be tricky because I've got a camera on it and that's sort of in the way, but so basically lay it on there, and what should happen is, you can see it's soaking in the wire and then making a very, very good join, like so. Usually better than that, but the camera's in the way, but hopefully that'll give you a good idea of how to do some decent soldering. You can probably see there, that is all soldered up, and as Dad said everywhere, that ain't going anywhere. So obviously insulate that by whatever method you want to do. Insulating tape, cloth tape, you can even probably cover over a bit of heat shrink over that, some big stuff, but whichever way you want to do it. But yeah, that's a brief lesson in soldering. On these electrics, I've just put the handlebar switch on. On these electrics, I'm using plugs as much as I possibly can to make life a bit easier once it's all live, so we can unplug things quite easy. These little plug kits are very cheap. I got this one, I think from Amazon. I think it was only about a tenner. Plenty of plugs in there, 2-way, 3-way, 4-way, 6 ways, 8 ways, whatever. And for these sort of motorcycle projects, they're ideal. Recommended. And to make everything nice and tidy, I'm going to get rid of these bullet type connectors, put on a nice plug. Then we have the plug all wired in for the stator into the single phase rec. Run into a bit of a technical issue with the lights. So on the loom, this light will be on all the time. So it has one feed for the normal headlight and another feed for high beam. So these two feeds both feed this light. Now if you just feed them directly to this light, you're going to get a short across here, shorting the switch out, so it'll just be on both at the same time. So to stop this short, what I've done is I placed two diodes in line. Now with it being positive earth, the diodes are back to front than what you'd expect. So what now happens is, when this feed comes in, it comes down this line, and it's not allowed to go back that way because the diode stops it from doing that. Stops it from doing that. When the other feed comes down on that switch, comes down that line, and it stops it from going that way and shorting by that diode. That's how it works. But because it's positive, it sort of works the other way around. So anyway, I've just done a quick test and that now works. So when this switch, just let me turn it on. So we have a light there, that's the normal headlight, and we have feed there. Oh, sorry, that's the other headlight, the main the sort of high beam. There's the low beam that comes through, and the light's still working. So solution to that is to put two diodes in, stopping the feed from going back round, back up to the switch again, and going to the light. Hope that helps somebody if they get stuck trying to make a loom. Okay, so back to this kickstart stop post. Now this is too long. It's come from Dragonfly. It's about 1 mil too long. I've measured the depth of the hole. Oops, can we see it? There it is. And that says that this end is okay. It's not hitting anything. But this end is about 1 mil too long, so we can't shut the case. So I'm going to stick it in the lathe and take a bit off the end, and then it should fit. Ah, the joys of having a lathe. I didn't film any of the turning on the lathe because if you've been watching this video, I'm sure you've seen me turn stuff before, and it was rather simple. All I do is just take a mill off it. If you're doing this kind of stuff regularly, I would recommend getting hold of a lathe, because it sorts out all sorts of little problems that you find when getting parts from suppliers and also just making stuff for yourself. Right, let's get it in there and get it fitting. There we have it, turned it down, and the case now fits like it should. So I need to get those rubber dongles there and dig out some bolts, and then that side is just about done. Back from Stafford Classic Bike Show, and I've managed to bag myself a set of Hagon Dial-A-Ride shocks, the right length, but unfortunately the top mount fits, but the bottom mount don't. So we can fix that. You need a bit of Delrin, a bit of steel, and one of those. So let's make these shocks fit. There's the final product. Best crack on and do the other one. And here it is, fitted to the bike. So first of all, get these in a vise and use just a socket, same sort of size as the rubber part, just to push these bottom bushes out. So I used a 27mm on one side and a 13mm on the other, and that's just pushed the bush right out. Okay, so onto the lathe. Piece of Delrin in there, and I'm just turning outside diameter down so it fits in the bottom mount hole. So Delrin is industrial plastic, and it's self-lubricating really. You don't need any sort of lubrication to you're doing the cutting. This is a Boxford CED lathe with powered feed, but I generally don't use a power feed. And also at the top, it's an inverter, that little box at the top, which converts single phase to three phase, because this has got a three-phase motor in it, the lathe. So that's the outside diameter done. So this is the inside. like I say, Delrin is self-lubricating, so you don't have to put lubrication in there. Get away with quite large drills. I did put a centre point on this originally to start off with, just to make so the drill bit doesn't judder. Delrin's really nice and easy material to use. And this is a boring tool. Now you can just see me turning that knob there. That actually sets the height of the tool. Because with different size tools, if I get a side cutting tool and a boring tool, because of different sizes of tools, they need to be set up at different heights. And usually a boring tool just needs to be slightly lower than central to make a nice cut. So this is just expanding the inside diameter. This is the piece of metal that goes into that hole of the Delrin. This is steel bar. That is a centre point going in there, just to give the drill somewhere to purchase when you're drilling. And here's the drill going in. This does need lubrication, obviously steel, and this usually sounds quite violent when it goes in. Steel, you want to keep the speed low. This is sort of a little bit less than half speed what the lathe can go to. But do it nice and slowly. A bit lubricated. It wasn't too bad. This piece. Stainless is usually the worst. This wasn't stainless. That's cut in there nice and fine. Through. Must be through now. I'm just pulling the drill back very slowly. See all the swarf coming off it. Then I think we have a bigger drill going in now. You don't want to go big drill straight away, you want to drill a bit smaller and then put the bigger drill afterwards. So more violent. WD-40 because I couldn't find my cooking oil. And there you go, there's the piece. I did do a bit of boring on that as well, but I hope you agree they look a lot better than these old rusty ones, which will be going in the bin.